Well, hello, everybody. Welcome today. This is Rick Horner from Pennsylvania here in the United States. I want to thank everyone for getting on this call today. We are jam-packed with people from all over the world, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you happen to be listening in. It is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce today's success leadership trainer, Andreas Papakostas. I personally have had the great privilege to know Andreas now for 10 plus years, and I can say from experience he is a leader of leaders. Anytime you can get around and listen to someone like Andreas and tap into the wisdom, the collective wisdom that they have, it makes absolute sense to do that, to drop what you're doing, to focus on that. So if you want to be successful, you have to focus on what successful people are doing. You know, there's a couple types of leaders that I've had experience with. There's those that talk a good game, but they don't walk it. And then there's those that walk the talk. You know, Andreas, in 10 years of knowing Andreas and working personally with him, he's a man that walks the talk. In fact, he does more than what he says. And that's the kind of leader that people gravitate to. So he is the epitome of great leadership, a man of his word, a man of high character and integrity. The information that you are about to receive today can transform you and your business if you focus on it and apply it. You know, there's two parts to leadership and training. There's the teacher, and we have that. We have a great one. And then there's the student. As a student, if you don't have a pen and paper and you're not taking notes and focusing on this, it's not going to help you. It may help you a little bit, but you're probably going to forget it. So get out your pen and paper and pay careful attention. And the information you're going to receive is going to be incredibly exciting and very beneficial to you and your business going forward. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you today our global leader, Andreas Papakostas. Andreas, take it away.
Awesome. Rick, thank you so much. Thanks for the introduction and mutual. It's likewise as far as you, Rick, and you're a tremendous leader here in the network marketing profession, and we need more people like you in our profession. Authentic, real, balanced, high integrity. So I appreciate that. I'm glad that we're close friends, we're partners. I appreciate that. So I couldn't ask for a better person to introduce me, and I appreciate that. So thank you. Folks, you know, grab a paper and pen, as Rick said, because I'm going to review a topic that, you know, can make a significant shift in your business, your organization, and it's great for those that are brand new in your organization, or even for the seasoned veterans. You know, we tend to shy away from fundamentals when we get to a certain level in our finances, or we get to a certain level in our titles. And make no mistake, it's really the fundamentals that matter. Now, every company has their own fundamental and their foundation, so to speak. So all I'm trying to do is just spark maybe an aha moment for you, or perhaps help you in moving your business to another level. Now, I took this information, this training, about 15 years ago from a gentleman that trained this, and I made this more of my own. I made it through my experience, through my opinions, and made this a training that really anybody can use. Now, as you know, there's training amongst training amongst training amongst training that people can really soak time in and really not move their business forward. But today, again, it doesn't matter if you're selling jewelry, doesn't matter if you're in a health and wellness, doesn't matter if you're selling gold or coins or legal categories or the travel category, or it doesn't matter. The fundamentals I'm going to share with you here today is going to be a great self-help or kind of an awareness of what are you doing in your daily method of operations, and where are you focusing your business in. So hopefully this is a training that would again, be worth the time that you're going to spend with me here. This is recorded, so if you like what you hear and you want your organization to get this information, then just go ahead and share it. I'm going to make it available. When we had a Facebook event, I posted obviously the webinar that we're having. I'll probably post a recording on there, and then you guys can share it and hopes, and you can even make this your own. You can take the information that I share with you and you can make it your own. You can change it, modify it, delete it to make it maybe a little bit more specific to the product or service that you offer as a network marketer. So let's get started here. I'm very excited. So again, if you have paper, I want you to draw exactly what you see on the screen. Draw 4 quadrants by putting 2 lines, horizontal, vertical, and categorize your quadrants as 1, 2, 3, 4, the way you see it here on the slides here. Okay, now on each of these quadrants, you're going to see what I'm going to put in each of these quadrants pretty big, but just put it really in small letters just on top of each of these quadrants. So quadrant number 1. I want you to label it as enrolling new distributors and new customers. That's going to be the focus of what I'm going to talk about in quadrant number 1. Quadrant number 2, I want you to put teaching and duplicating. Again, put it in the top so you have some space to write notes in each of these categories. Quadrant number 3, I want you to put in motivation. And in quadrant number 4, I want you to put in recognition. Okay, again, I can easily spend an hour or 2 on each of these quadrants and make it very, very specific. What I want to do is just give you some concepts, some principles in each of these quadrants, so then you can check to see what are you doing, what you need to do more of, what you need to do less of, and make it specific to your company and your organization. So let's talk about quadrant number 1. These are the notes you're going to start putting down. Folks, quadrant number 1 is the lifeline of all the quadrants, the 4 quadrants, okay? Enrolling new distributors, new customers. If you are brand new in your company, okay, brand new in your company, and you haven't sponsored any distributor, you haven't sponsored anybody, then 100% of your time is in this quadrant. You do not need to worry about the other quadrants that I'm going to cover in this training, okay? Now, if you have an organization and that consists of one person, one distributor or more that's in your organization, then you're going to be focusing 70% of your time, if not more, in this quadrant, okay? Now, if you have an organization and there's absolutely no growth in your organization, you're going to have to shift from 70% to 100% time in this quadrant. I can't stress that enough. Okay, now, in order for you to be successful in this quadrant, I want to make sure that you focus on 5 things. And again, it doesn't matter what company you are building. You got to focus on these 5 things. If you are promoting a product, you must be a consumer of your product, okay? If you are promoting a service, you must be using that service if you're going to go out there and build a business. So that's number 1, okay? Number 2, you have to spend time sharing your products and your services. You have to spend time sharing your opportunity of your products and or services, okay? Number 4, you have to strengthen your vision and your belief through personal development. And number 5, you have to stay connected with your upline team members, okay? Now, I'm not going to go and tell you how you should be prospecting and how you should be recruiting and how you would drive traffic and do all that stuff. That's all up to your team, your system, or you to figure out as an entrepreneur. But I'm going to give you some concepts and some principles and some foundation that you can make your own, okay? Now, in order for you to share the products and the opportunity and to enroll new distributors and new customers, you have to have a contact list, okay? Now, I'm not going to sit there here today and make this about automated system versus what people say old school, make a contact list, don't make a contact list, lead generate. I'm not going to sit there. That's up to you what you want to do and how you're going to build your business. But I'm going to stress the fact that if you cannot share your products and or services to people that you already know, okay, if you don't want to, you really need to do a self-check on your own as far as your belief level in what it is that you are doing. Okay? So I'm going to leave it at that. But you have to have a contact list. Now, I'm going to give you a principle again, a method that I've been teaching, gosh, for well over 15 years in this industry that I still use, serves me, and is basically prospecting made simple. Okay? Now, again, however you introduce your product and service based on the person who's teaching you or the company who's teaching you, I use an acronym called SASA. S-A-S-A. I want you to write this down, okay? And this is how I use this fundamental when I approach people, okay? It's basically prospecting made easy. So the first S is sharing, okay? Now, when I contact people, I share my excitement. I share why I am contacting them, honesty, integrity, and authenticity, the truth, always, okay? And I share information, okay? Now, A stands for ask. After I share, I ask if they would like to review and get more information on what it is that I shared with them. I ask them, okay? Now, if people are interested in reviewing more information, whatever product or service or whatever you shared with them, okay? The next S is I supply. I supply a tool to them. It could be a recorded webinar. It could be your lead capture page. It could be a live event. It could be maybe an appointment that you make and meet with them locally. It could be something, whatever information that's going to do the work for you, and I limit it to one. I do not give people more than one tool for them to review on whatever it is that you shared with them. Okay, so I supply information. And the last, A, is appointment making. If I can teach you one nugget that I personally will stress over and over again that can add another zero to your check on a weekly basis, okay, and you have to have at least $1 to make that extra zero worth it, right, is this. Anytime you give a piece of information to somebody that wants to review your product and your services, your opportunity, whatever it is, you must schedule a follow-up appointment within 24 to 48 hours. That's it. You cannot supply information to people and not schedule an appointment to follow up with them to answer their questions, to see what their interest level is. You got to schedule that appointment, 24 hours, 48 hours. When somebody says, you know what, I don't know when I'll get a chance to look at it, I'll call you when I review the information. Rule of thumb, great. Hey, if I don't hear back from you over the next 2 or 3 days, will you allow me to give you a call? I have never in 15 years had anybody say no. I said allow. Will you allow me? So I'm giving the power to them, but yet I'm still in control. So again, 24 to 48 hours. If they don't know, then let them know that you're going to give them a call 3 or 4 days after that. The answer is always yes. Okay? So you have to share. You have to ask if they're open. You always supply them one tool of information, and then you schedule a follow-up appointment 24 to 48 hours. Now understand, this is a quadrant of no's, right? This is the quadrant that's going to test your commitment if you're going to build your business or not. Understand that, right? This is the quadrant that's going to challenge and test to see, are you committed or were you just interested? Are you serious or are you not? This is the quadrant that's going to challenge your belief in what it is that you're really doing with your company. But this is the quadrant that can change your life forever. This is a quadrant that whether you're making $10 a week, $1,000 a week, or $100,000 a week, you never lose focus of this quadrant. Now, here's the problems that are associated with this quadrant, okay? A lot of people leave this quadrant before they experience any level of success. Now, again, this is where, again, this is a whole different training, this basically challenges paradigms in their belief system within themselves. And too many people in our industry focus on just telling people, just talk to more people, just talk to more people, do more presentations, right? The reality is people really know what they need to do. The problem is, how do we get people to do what they already know they need to do? And that can't be on how to build your business. It's why you should build your business. So that is why personal development and empowering people, inspiring people, helping people really see the bigger picture, why they should have a bigger picture. And that is really what we help. And this is part of enrolling new distributors and new customers. So this does stay in quadrant number 1. Now, when people have an organization, they wind up leaving this quadrant to go into quadrant number 3. I'm going to cover quadrant number 3 after, of course, I cover quadrant number 2, but write a note on that. Do not go into quadrant number 3, okay, when you don't have any activity going on in your organization. Now, let's move into quadrant number 2. This quadrant is teaching and duplicating. Okay? It's really about developing leaders. Man, I can't tell you how many times we see these people that go out there and can't wait to attract followers, people that will just listen to them and just follow them, but not really developing them into leaders. We got a lot of those in our profession, folks, but you should be teaching people and duplicating success. And in my opinion, it's about developing leaders and winners. That's what you should be teaching and duplicating, leaders and winners. Now, of course, there's attributes to winners and leaders and what you want in leaders and winners, okay? But you only work this quadrant if you've enrolled at least one new distributor, if you sponsor at least one. Remember, if you don't need to worry about any of all these other quadrants. You are focusing on quadrant number 1. Now, when you have at least one person you sponsored, you're going to spend 30% of your time or less in this quadrant, okay? Now, what do you teach? What do you duplicate, okay? Are you ready for this? Gosh, this is so simple, but very profound if you really pay attention, okay? Here's what you teach and duplicate. How to stay focused and consistent in quadrant number 1. Okay? That's it. You help your new distributors, okay, and you teach them to enroll new distributors and get new customers, and you do it with them, okay? Teaching is not about telling. We have a lot of self-proclaimed gurus in our profession. We have a lot of people that say all the right things in our profession, right? It's not about telling people what to do. It's doing it with them, right? You want to teach people what they need to do, but then you want to go ahead and do it with them. The best phrase that I can remember is the one that Jim Rohn says, don't tell people what to do. Let's go do it with them. And that's really what you want to teach and you want duplicated in your organization. Otherwise, you don't have leveraged income. And one of the reasons why you come into this industry is to create income, but also through leveraged efforts. All right? So teach your new distributor to enroll new customers and new distributors by doing it with them. Do 3-way calls. This is where one-on-one meetings, 2-on-1 meetings. This is where you sit down, you create a plan of action, and you do it with them, right? Especially when there's new people who are joining our industry that come from an employee mindset, that come from a job mentality, right? They want entrepreneurial results, but they have the employee mindset. You got to do it with them. That's what true leaders do. So what do you teach? Well, who do you teach, right? Because just because you sponsored somebody doesn't mean that you're going to spend 30% of your time with that individual. So who do you teach and try to duplicate? The ones that completed at least a goal sheet. Almost every company probably has a generic goal sheet. Now, I have a very specific goal sheet, and it gives me a snapshot of where that person's mindset is, where they're going to go, what the belief level is, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are in their perception, and then I know where to begin with those individuals, okay? So those who have a goal sheet, those who show up on your calls, your team calls, those who show up at meetings, those who schedule three-ways with you, those who call you, not you calling them, but those who call you consistently that are excited, they want to move their business forward, they have an idea, they think they want to do this, or what about that? It's all about moving their business forward. Those are the people you're going to teach and duplicate with. Now, here's the problem with this quadrant. Micromanagement kicks in, and teaching gets confused with motivation, okay? Again, teaching is not telling them what to do or what they want to hear, but it's about doing it with them that meets their goals and their vision, okay? You must understand distributors are going to come and go, and sometimes it's the people with the same last name as you. They're going to come and they're going to go. It's all part of the profession in the industry. It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. So then you know which quadrant you need to focus on, so you're never worried about moving your business forward, okay? So that's the problem with quadrant number 2. It gets confused with quadrant number 3, which I'm going to go into it. But here are the questions that I ask people to know. Should I invest time with these people, right? How many new people have you contacted or shared the products with or shared our opportunity with? How many appointments did you make? You know, if you talked to people and you shared your excitement and you shared why you called them and you asked if they were interested, right? And how many of those people you supplied information with and made an appointment within 24 hours? I want to know, where are you at, right? So who can you get me on the phone with that perhaps I can help with some questions that they have? So this quadrant will teach you if your distributor is a talker or is a doer, right? So are they talking about what's not happening in their business, or are they talking about what's happening in your business? Way too many people spend time with people that they've enrolled or people in their organization, and they spend 45 minutes on the phone with them, and then when they get off, they didn't really do anything. Their talk had nothing to do with moving forward. Their talk had nothing to do with providing solutions and what's going to move their business forward. A lot of it has to do with what's not working and getting into a motivation type mode, which I'm going to talk to you. I can't wait to get to that quadrant, right? So again, remember, spend less time with more people, especially when the system is all done for them. It's there for them to tap into, okay? So that's quadrant number 2. Now, let's move on to quadrant number 3, motivation. Please do me a favor and put a big fat X on this quadrant, okay? This is the do not enter quadrant. This is the quickest way to kill momentum in your business. Man, do we have many people in this quadrant and they don't even know that they're in this quadrant, okay? So how do you know if you're in this quadrant? Well, if you're always saying to yourself, what can I do to spark something in this person? What can I do to get them to see it or to realize what they have? Do I call them and trying to help them more than they're actually calling me to help themselves? are these people, do they produce after a pep talk and then just fall off the wagon maybe after 3 or 4 days after then until the next pep talk, right? This is when you know if you're in this quadrant. Folks, stop trying to wake up the hibernated. I hate to use the word dead, but you wake up the people that are in hibernation mode because you never know when somebody else is going to get inspired. When somebody else has hit rock bottom and enough is enough, they're going to do something. But it's not because you're motivating them. It's not because you're telling them all the right things, right? This goes the same with quadrant number 1. When you're talking to people that perhaps didn't have an interest in your product and or service, right? And all of a sudden you have a new system or you have a new product, and then you go back to the same people and just tell them a new way of introducing the business, right? Don't go after these same people. Don't try to wake up those that give you the energy that it's not there, it's not for them. You know, we're talking about like the Aunt Johns, right? You don't want to go to Aunt John and enroll them into your business. You know, if you built a multi-million-dollar business and you invested in a corporation and you were looking to hire a CEO or a director of your company, is Aunt John going to be the person that you're going to put in that position? Well, stop enrolling these types of people in your organization because it's going to put you in the motivation mode. You're going to have to motivate them to do something. You're going to have to motivate them to share the products. You're going to have to motivate them to do personal development. You're going to have to motivate them to stay connected. And all you're doing is wasting your time, your future, your vision. Okay? So understand that the solution with these people is to ask them how you can help them with their obstacles. Go over their big why. The goals that they shared with you initially as far as why they got started in the business. Why did they join? Has anything changed from the time they joined till today? Something had to change. Listen, most people join your opportunity, join you because of why? They want more time freedom. They want more money. They want more time. They want to be their own boss. They want to take more vacations. That's what they want. They want to help people, right? Those are the common things that you hear people all the time. Well, did that change? Do they not want to make more money anymore? Do they not want to be a boss anymore? What has changed? Something has changed. It usually has to do with obviously their belief level and their paradigms, and that's a different topic for a different time. But you don't want to spend time telling them, well, just talk to more people. Well, if you could just tap into these calls, right? What you need to do is you want to inspire them with stories, and you want to lead them in the direction of personal development. I want to share with you 2 programs that have made a significant change in transforming their lives, people around the world. And this is a program that I got from the person that I decided to partner up with, Joe Garcia, who's very big in personal development, has made a big impact in my life and also an impact in a lot of people's lives because, again, we're in the business of impacting people, right? If you do not own the Science of Getting Rich program, that was created by Bob Proctor, okay? And we're not talking about, this talks about just money. We're talking about the universal principles of success. I highly encourage you to get that program. There's also another program by Dr. Robert Anthony, and it's The Secret of Deliberate Creation. That program is such a powerful program to get people challenging their paradigms, their belief systems that pretty much get passed down to us that we don't challenge, and that's why we're stuck in the mindset that we're stuck in, the choices we make and the habits that we have. Again, different topic for a different time, but a very important one. Those are the 2 programs that there's a lot of programs out there, folks, but those are programs that have changed the way I think, changed the way I've taught, and more importantly, changed the way I've attracted people and manifested things in my life. Listen, you can chase success and you can attract success. And let me tell you, I've done them both. And I have to say that attracting success is a lot more freedom-oriented than chasing success. These are the 2 programs that can help you. But more importantly, it's really to offer to these people. If you have these programs, share it with people. Have them listen to it in the car. Have them read 1 page or 2 pages. You know this whole reading, I can read 20, 30, 40 books and people never change. Well, that's great. You did the movement. You basically just went through the motions, but that doesn't really mean it. Read 1 or 2 pages a day. Do something consistent to challenge the belief levels you have, because one day there's going to be a verse. There's going to be an aha moment. You're going to hit the subconscious mind that stimulates something that goes, wow, whoa, this is a defining moment. And that's when you're going to change people. You're not going to change people by motivating them. How many people did you spend so many times where people have spent years and years and years trying to get people to get to their goals, but yet they're not really doing anything? Maybe it's time for you to help them inspire, empower themselves by getting more into personal development and versus getting them to do more of the how-tos and building their business. And they're going to thank you for that. I guarantee you they will. So again, these are the programs that you can definitely, that you want to be a part of, and you want to be able to help people move out of where they're at with their belief. And that's the only way you're going to get them into quadrant number 1. Okay? So don't confuse teaching with motivating. Stay out of this quadrant. You can help self-motivate people by staying in quadrant number 1. Do what you say, as opposed to just, again, like Rick mentioned early on, there's a lot of people that talk, but they don't walk the talk. So walk your talk. People will be able to walk with you if they see that you're doing what you are teaching. Now, let's go to quadrant number 4, the last quadrant, recognition. Folks, this is the food for the soul. There's nothing greater than getting recognized, especially when it is authentic. I can't stress enough, authenticity, 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 authenticity. When it comes from the heart, when it comes from truth, that recognition will be bigger than earning a $1 million check. I promise you, I know that sounds weird, but I have people that will actually work harder to get recognized than actually the paycheck, right? And this is not a time-consuming activity, but the response will pay you big. You know, recognize more people and for the things that they do that are moving in the direction of moving their business forward. Recognize them for the little things and, of course, the big things. But at one point, I see recognition go the opposite. I see people recognizing people for the things that they, listen, yeah, you've been in this business for 5 years, and you talked, and you talked to one person this week. Well, at one point, it's your business, and you should be talking to people, right? In the beginning, recognizing that they made the effort to do it. But after 5 years, recognizing somebody because they talked to somebody, well, again, you want to increase the standard of what you are recognizing, but you definitely want to recognize people for the little things, especially the new people. When people are working in quadrant number 1, recognize them. When people are getting on team calls, recognize them. When people are scheduling 3-way calls with you, recognize them. When people are enrolling new distributors, they're enrolling new customers, recognize them. Okay? Now, when people are meeting people, they're doing in-home events, they're getting no's. If they're getting no's, recognize them. That means they're in quadrant number 1, which is where they want to be in order for them to build their business, right? They're enrolling a few customers. They made some retail. Recognize them for that, okay? And then ask yourself, hey, who can I recognize in my organization today? Again, this is not a very big time-consuming quadrant, right? Also, who else can you recognize that's in your upline? Because everybody wants nutrients in their heart and in their soul. And recognition, again, if it's truth and it's authentic, can change the way people feel that day. Recognize your upline. Recognize people that's not even in your organization. Recognize people that's building another company outside of your company that is doing some great things. Recognize them for that. Why not? We should be recognizing people for doing things for other people. When they succeed, lots of other people succeed. Recognize them for that. Again, it's food for the soul. Now, There's always exceptions in every quadrant, okay? However, no one will work quadrant 1, 2, or 4 if they don't have a big why. They don't have a purpose. They don't have a vision. It's not crystal clear, okay? You have to help people become crystal clear from the get-go where they want to go with their business opportunity. What do they see themselves achieve? You may have to help paint the picture for them so they can start believing that picture. The more clear they become with what they want and why they want it, and they can hold on the feeling as if they already achieved it, then you did your job. You did your job as a sponsor in your business. They will then figure it out. Too many people try to figure it out for people in our profession, in our organization. And the reality is you cannot figure it out for people. You can tell people what they need to do, and they may do it. But if it doesn't come from within because of their vision and because of their belief and because of their purpose, it's going to be short-lived. You have to help people want to figure it out for themselves. That's why stay away from quadrant number 3 and stay in quadrant number 2, focusing them on quadrant number 1. Remember, in quadrant number 1, enrolling new distributors and new customers is also about developing themselves. Focus on helping them develop themselves. Somebody in your upline can help them do that. There's lots of people outside of your company that can help them do that. Get them crystal clear. We take so much time trying to help people figure it out, when reality is they have to figure it out. Everybody is different. We just focus on giving them foundations and principles and systems, right? And help them develop a bigger picture as to why they should go out there and do the things that will help them make the money to help more people and to get to their destination. This is why, again, personal development, self-development is crucial in our business. And that is why I focus on that from day one. I focus on that with everybody from day one. This is why we recommend everybody listens to a program, reads something every single day. Folks, personal development should not be done when you feel like it or when you need it or when things are not happening. Well, maybe I should read a book. No, if you're serious about becoming a success, it should be part of your lifestyle daily, okay? So this is something that, again, you can post up on your office. You want to put this in big, put the quadrants up, and you want to make sure that on quadrant number 3, you put that big, fat X on it. Print it up, okay? Post it on, and look at yourself at the end of the night and say, how much time did I spend in number 1? How much time did I spend in number 2? Did I really go into quadrant number 3 with certain people? Did I recognize anybody? Okay? This will give you some of the specifics you need for your company, for your product or service, right? And then you can do whatever system or whatever approach methods or whatever you need to do to help people duplicate. Because when you help people become a success, you will automatically be a success. So this was recorded, folks. So if you like what you heard, if this was something that would help you, you could definitely share it with your organization or really anybody that that are in commission-based businesses. You can definitely help them with this fundamental. Again, it's all about advancing your business agenda. It's all about advancing people and succeeding. There's a lot of training that it's out there. So I hope I shared with you some golden nuggets that perhaps you can evaluate what you do on a daily basis. Where do you spend your time? Because there's one thing that we can't do is we can't add more time every single day, but we can manage the activities that we do with the time that's given to us. There's no time management, folks. It's activity management. So make sure that you spend your time wisely in whatever business that you are building and work with the person that has actually achieved the level of success that you're looking for to achieve, and then you use your time wisely together. So I hope this helped you, folks. Thank you so much for joining. We had lots of people from around the world, from many different companies, that actually watched this webinar. And if you want to reach out to me, here's some information on Skype or my email. If there's anything I can do to help you and your organization, I'd be happy to do so. So Have a fantastic weekend here, folks. Thanks for joining us, and we'll hear you on our next training. Goodbye, everybody.